think it's December the 29th. It's a beautiful sunny December day. There's snow on the ground, but it's sort of melting away. And the ground is still soft enough to work. So right here, this is one of the places along the drainage from our annual production area where we got a nice big depression. I'm going to turn it into a pond. Not a particularly deep pond. It's going to be about a shovel full deep. When it dries out somewhere in the spring or summer, I'll go deepen it a little bit, but I would like to start sketching it out, get myself out to the brown edge there where you can see where it's really waterlogged. Just remove all of that soil, get a nice little body of water here. I'm going to willow up around the edges of it, maybe put some dogwoods in there. I also have some cottonwoods that are eagerly budding out, that maybe I'll get one sort of in here somewhere and make just a little riparian area, but that's all in the future. Today is delightful labor under the winter sun. So I'm not going to try to do a time lapse or anything, but I'm going to rough sketch this out as a pond, and I'll come back and show you what's shaped up. Okay, pond progress update. Not a bad little Sunday afternoon bit of work here. So you can see I haven't really aspired to go especially deep, and I've left it pretty irregular in the bottom there, which is not how I imagine things. I have almost no visual imagination, so everything is sort of schematic in my mind, and so it's all uniform plain surfaces, no texture, no friction. And if I let my natural inclination, following on from that way of imagining, loose into the world, I tend to produce very uniform, orderly things that are deeply, profoundly unnatural, and in most cases unhelpful. Like, if I let my instinct in cooking fully run its course, then everything would just be pureed. It's not good. Texture is important. Texture is important to experiences, and it's especially important to ecosystems. So if you look at the difference between like wild ecosystems and human managed ecosystems, a lot of it is just in the lumpiness of things in nature. And so this environment, I mean, this has been a hayfield for nearly 100 years. We have at least 95 years. We have imagery back to, I think, 1930s or 1930 of this place being cleared from the federal government. So it's pretty flat, but over time, lumpiness has begun to emerge here. And so all I'm trying to do is just augment that lumpiness a little bit. So it's, it's lumpy down in there in the water. And that sort of lumpiness creates the opportunity for this place to be useful to the sorts of organisms that, I would like to eventually take it over and have it be a little microhabitat for them, right? If you think about the lowest levels of a potential ecosphere here, like all of the little microorganisms, entire populations might find of, microarthropods or something like that, might find little niches in each of these little clumps that's still sticking up, which amusingly, most of these are actually where the original channel was here. So all of these are definitely water loving because they're growing in a water plant, but these are also the places where, let's say, a duck comes in here. They will certainly come in here. They love spots like this. They very frequently, over the last spring I observed, landed on the pond over there, and then they'd all hang out, like 100 ducks, right? And then they'd break up into clumps, and they'd fly out to every one of the depressions in this field, and you'd see them all rooting around looking for goodies and whatnot. So one of these ducks comes in from some other place, and hopefully they'll have some seeds of water-loving plants either on their little duck persons or in their digestive tracts. They come in here, they start rooting around, they're looking for slugs and bugs and all sorts of good stuff. Some of those seeds end up in here. If this was just a uniform flat bottom, there might not be a place for those kinds of plants that aren't necessarily wanting to grow submerged, but are very water loving to get started. But if we leave a little bit of an island, or we have some spots that are popping up, all of those potential niches are present in small ways that can become sort of the nucleus, or not nucleus, nucleation sites for something, processes to unfold. Whereas if it's uniform, then they're only going to be able to come in along the edges, and because the edges were defined by a sharp spade, they're sort of lumpy, somewhat in contour, but they're very clean cuts straight down, and so that's not really going to be a great place to colonize. So my hope is that by leaving it irregular, by having some little bits where the plants are left in, leaving a little island or two out there, and having a variation of depths, that's going to create more opportunities for different types of organisms to get established and start working on whatever processes they're going to undertake to sort of naturalize this space. And then over the course of the season, we'll look at it and see who showed up and see who's making what kinds of contributions in the direction that this wants to go. And then just again, try to amplify that, maybe speed that along a little bit. But it's a nice little afternoon's work. And now I have all of these wonderful clumps of earth, which will be carried over and become the foundation of raised beds. So you can picture just that, but in a more organized and linear fashion, covered in compost, covered in mulch. Put my little plants in it, come somewhere between March and May, as soon as the weather warms up a little bit, and things will be taking off. So we've got a little bit of a amplification of potential biodiversity opportunity out here by just leaning into the natural depressions in this field. Creates a space that could be pretty nice for the ducks. We'll plant it up with some willows around the periphery, and some other sort of water loving plants. I know I've got cuttings of dogwood and cottonwood, and then what's taken out of it will become part of our more organized, managed processes in our annual growing space. It'll be pretty nice.